Hello and welcome to the Olympic Circuit podcast here with the circuitverse.com. My name is Adam. I'm the host of the podcast and I'm joined by my guest.
I'm Zach, also part of the Circuitverse.
Yeah, we're co-founders of the Circuitverse here. Make sure to check it out, the circuitverse.com. We have a bunch of cool content, a bunch of podcasts that we're going to get up and going. It's a lot of fun. Anything sports or pop culture related, this is your place. So, Zach, what are we here to talk about today with our first podcast?
We are going to be comparing the original Space Jam movie with the one that just came out. Original featuring Michael Jordan, obviously the new one with LeBron James. And then we're just going to be walking through that.
Yeah, Space Jam. Now, what is your relationship with Space Jam? Did you watch the old one when it first came out when you were a kid? Did you, what are your feelings toward it?
I think I was a late comer to it in that I have seen the original, I think maybe once or twice, but not when I originally was a young lad. But I mean, I've enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed it. So seeing the new one, I mean, I was excited partially for it to come out. I mean, it wasn't the most anticipated movie for me, but I was looking forward to it coming out and looking forward to seeing it. I was thinking it's going to be a good movie. So
yeah, I would say I watched it when I was younger, when I was a kid. I loved the Looney Tunes, loved Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and Michael Jordan. We're going to get into Michael versus LeBron. I was an MJ fan when I was younger, a little less so now, but obviously I liked it. I love basketball and I love cartoons, so It was a good blend. And I was pretty excited about this new one. I'm a huge LeBron James fan. Spoiler alert, I think he's the greatest of all time. So I was very excited to see how we could compare to Michael. And so we're going to dive into that. So let's talk about the new one and the old one. So box office, we're going to start with that. The original made 90 million here in the US and 230 million worldwide.
Okay.
Decent, not great comparatively to today's standards, but it was a different time back in the 90s. The new one, however, has made 13 million in the US and 35 worldwide. 31 million on opening weekend. Obviously, we're in a pandemic. So obviously a lot of people are not going out to the theater and seeing movies the way they normally would. It's on HBO Max streaming for free if you have the subscription. So that's taking a lot from the box office.
Yeah, I was just wondering that. Streaming services.
But do you think that the sequel has any chance of reaching the 230 million worldwide? It needs about 200 million more. Do you think there's any possible way it's going to reach the original?
200 million more?
Yeah.
Okay. And say what the original made again one more time.
The original made 230 million worldwide. This one is at 35.
Oh wow!
Heading into the second weekend.
I don't know. Like with the streaming services being so big,
yeah,
and like the access to that, I feel like there's less chance because back when the original one came out. It was probably, the first. In order to see it, you would need to go to the theater. So,
yeah, I don't think there's any chance. I don't think it has any chance with it. I don't even think it would.
That's a big gap.
Yeah, even without HBO Max, I don't think it would because people just aren't going to the movie as often.
Yeah,
and once you see it once, you're probably not going to risk going back to the theater multiple times to see it.
Yeah,
but with HBO Max too, I mean, we saw it in the theater. We had a good time.
Yeah.
But then that night I went home and I played it again on HBO Max. I don't need to go see it multiple times. So once you kind of get that theater experience once, I think it's just kind of you don't need to go back anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a one-time thing.
With other movies like with Avengers Endgame or something, that broke the record because people went so many times to go see it. Now you don't have to do that. So I don't think there's any way it does.
Yeah, no, but that big of a gap. I don't think so as well.
So a little more numbers, a little more acidic numbers with the films. Rotten Tomatoes, not the most reliable site. We know that critics and fans not always the most honest opinions on there. Sometimes there's an agenda, but for the most part, the original critic response was 44% out of 100. Not great. The audience was 63. So even the audience was kind of like, it's okay, it's not great. The new one, critics is 29%.
Oh,
that is rotten.
Yeah.
That is a rotten tomato.
That is rotten.
But audience is 80%. So audience seems to really enjoy this new one, more so than the old one. Do you think critically, which do you think is more accurate? The original with 44% critics and 63% audience, or the sequel with 29% critics and 80% audience? Which do you think is more emblematic of what the actual films were?
I'd say, I don't know. I think the newer, like, I feel like that would make sense that the 80% for the viewers, 20% for critics. I feel like that's more realistic. Like that makes sense in that. I mean, I thought it was a very packed movie. You know, there's a lot to it.
We're gonna get into that later.
Yeah. I think it could definitely be very enjoyable for a lot of people. But from a critical perspective, you can definitely like tear it apart.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely a lot of lacking pieces, but I think if you are going off by just enjoyment, like then I can see that being more like a realistic 80%.
Yeah, I kind of fall the same way. I mean, I love these movies. I love both of them, but I definitely understand the lack of cinematic quality that is in them. That, you know, these are tailored to kids. These are tailored to a specific type of audience. So I think the critic score is should be a little lower. But I do agree. You mentioned it. We're going to get into it a little bit later. The packed nature of this film. If you like Warner Brothers properties, you know, this is a smorgasbord of Warner Brothers. There is not 2 minutes in the movie without either the WB logo or a character from one of the universes. So I definitely agree that, you know, audience, if you have any connection to any of those franchises, you're probably going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, some nostalgia, bringing it back.
All right, so now we're going to get into the medals portion, which is, you know, the meaning behind the Olympic circuit. We give out medals for different categories in the movie. The first one we're going to do is MJ or LeBron. All right, so before we dive into the medal, let's talk about your relationship with these two athletes, who you think is better, and then we'll get into it. So who do you think is better, MJ or LeBron at basketball?
At basketball, I don't know. I'd say like I'm not a huge basketball fan. I definitely enjoy watching it.
We've watched many a game together.
Yeah, we watched many games. We saw.
We watched LeBron win the title together.
I watched LeBron James win. So I mean, so I guess in seeing him being in he's in his prime, right? Like he's
towards the tail end, but he's still better than
he's still cooking
99.9% of people on Earth.
Yeah. So, and I've seen replays of Michael Jordan, but I don't know. I feel like I would probably err towards LeBron James. I mean, he seems like he's trying to take over as maybe one of the best players or the best player.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for that. He definitely wants to be that.
He wants to be the king.
Obviously I wasn't old enough to watch MJ with the Bulls. I was born right at the tail end of when he was winning with the Bulls. I did see a little bit of him with the Wizards, which I think everybody wants to forget. But I grew up with LeBron. LeBron, you know, Kobe was my guy, but after Kobe retired, rest in peace, Kobe, I realized and appreciated LeBron more for what he does. And I just think he's a better player. And I know, you know, we'll get into clutch. You know, Michael never lost in the finals. Michael, you know, never even let game 7. There's all this stuff about Michael. And I think it's more of just people who were older then and were alive watching it, just kind of like, we don't want to admit that anyone is better because he's our guy. And I think that that's also happening in this generation with LeBron, is that people who grew up with LeBron are saying no one could be better than LeBron. I just think LeBron's a better player overall. I think he's a better defender because of his size. I think he's much better passer. I don't think that's even debatable. Better rebounder. I think he's smarter than Michael, and I think he cares more than Michael. Michael golfed a lot. You know, there's stories he played 36 holes the day of a finals game. That's you know, he gambled a lot. You know, it just doesn't seem like he cared as much as LeBron does. So I would go with LeBron. That's my personal opinion. But we're going to get into the medal. Who wins the gold medal in this film? Michael or LeBron? We're talking about acting. We're talking about just driving the movie. Who did a better job, Michael or LeBron, in these films?
I mean, you know, here comes like where if you have some like critical aspect to it, you know, they both are notably like polar actors. It seems like, I mean, which makes sense if they're just basketball players.
Yeah.
But which I almost enjoy. I enjoy almost like that lack of like acting ability. I feel like it. I feel like it fits in well with like the explosiveness of like the Looney Tunes, and then you have this like not dull, but like but this the superstar is kind of like lacking in the acting ability. But I feel like it fits well. But I don't know. I would say I don't want to go like the new Space Jam for all of them, but I feel like LeBron did a good job. I mean, he had his family. I mean, Michael Jordan had his family in there too, but you know, there was more of that. It was more in the movie. It seemed all right. I mean, his family. I would question their acting abilities a little more, but like his son, but whatever.
All right. So you're going gold medal LeBron.
Yeah.
All right.
Gold medal.
Well, it seems like from what I've gathered here, we're going to disagree probably a lot on these medals. I'm going MJ.
Okay.
As much as I just said how much I love LeBron, I think he's better than MJ. I'm going MJ here. And I think the problem in this movie is also the problem that LeBron is facing in real life, and where he is chasing Michael clearly to be the greatest of all time. And he wants it so badly. And in this movie, it came off to me that he was trying to act his heart out to be better than Michael. I'm going to be better than MJ. And to me, it just kind of fell flat. It kind of felt like this is a person who's clearly acting. He's been in other movies. He's had other roles. He was in Trainwreck with Amy Schumer and Bill Hader, I believe. He was great in that. He was a very small role, and he was just like, he could breathe. He relaxed. He was funny. He was great in that. This movie, it just seemed like he was coming off so strong to try and be the best actor in the movie.
Yeah.
And to me, he just wasn't. And MJ, he did the movie, the original Space Jam, to sell shoes. That was really like, MJ was all about, I'm going to sell shoes.
It's a big advertisement.
Yeah, I don't care about politics. I just want to sell shoes. I don't care about anything. I just want to sell shoes. That was his thing. He just wants to make money. And God bless him. He built one of the biggest companies on the planet. So it worked. But I think his desire to just like, I'm going to do this movie to make money. And people are going to come to this movie because it's Looney Tunes. The kids care about the Looney Tunes. They don't really care about the basketball part. So I agree with you. The acting is subpar for both. There are some cringe-worthy moments that I found from both, which I know you love the cringe. You're all about cringe.
I enjoy the cringe.
You embrace the cringe. I cringe. But, you know, so I give it to MJ for that. I think we're going to differ a lot, though. I think which is going to surprise some people.
I see.
So we're going to go medal for Looney Tunes. Gold medal. So I want to do actually two medals here. I want to do gold medal for which Looney Tune do you think was the best of all the Looney Tunes individually in both movies?
Yeah.
So like examples, Bugs from the first or Bugs from the second. You know, you pick one character from movie. And I also want to do which movie did better at portraying the Looney Tunes, like the Looney Tunes portions of the movies. Which one was better? So which would you want to start with? You want to start with the movie or the individual?
Individual.
Individual. What Looney Tune for you wins the gold medal?
In both movies?
Both movies combined. You combine all the Looney Tunes together. Which Looney Tune do you think gets the gold medal in this movie or in these movies?
Bugs is obviously the star.
Bugs is the star.
He's the star, but like, you know, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it, you know. He doesn't know his Do I want to say Bugs?
I don't know, do you? I don't think I'm going to say Bugs. So if you want to say Bugs, good.
I might say, what's the pig's name?
Porky Pig?
Yeah.
Porky Pig. Which one? Original or sequel Porky Pig?
Sequel Porky Pig.
All right, let's get into it. Why do you think Porky Pig from the sequel is the gold medal?
Yeah. I liked his contributions. I liked when he was in the train. And
yeah, he was what was he? He was the bank robber in the train sequence.
I liked I just liked his small contributions, which I feel like added a lot to the movie.
He had the big rap scene.
He had the rap scene, which got them a lot of points.
We got them so many points.
So many points.
We're gonna get into later, but I got them so many points.
Yeah, no, it won them a lot of points. He added a good fun aspect, which if I I think, for the kids and for just general population, he added a lot to the movie. So
All right.
I was Porky Pig.
All right. I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Lola Bunny from
Oh.
the sequel.
And the original movie is when she first was born, like appeared, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. The original movie, I think, had a lot of problems with Lola. It very much sexualized this bunny.
Yeah.
Which back then in the
That's questionable.
90s, it's like no one really paid attention to it. No one cared. That was, what people expected and somewhat wanted.
Yeah.
Now with the Me Too movement and everything, I think it's much more apparent that like this bunny does not need to be sexualized in any way. Zendaya, who voiced Lola Bunny in the second one, fantastic actress.
Yes.
We both really admire her.
Mhm.
She had the great Wonder Woman sequence, and she clearly got the biggest entrance of the Looney Tunes in the second one. I thought, with the whole Amazon background.
Yeah.
And she played well. I think she played well in the game. So I'm gonna go Lola Bunny. Let's go movies now. Which movie do you think handled the Looney Tunes better? The original or the sequel?
I might say the original in this one.
Interesting. We're gonna disagree again. All right. Why do you say the original?
I'd say, I don't know, like it was more. They were there from the beginning. I mean, it starts off with just Bugs, and he has to find all the Looney Tunes
In the sequel.
Yeah. But in the original, they're more all together.
Yeah, you have that great town hall meeting.
Yeah.
With all the tunes.
Yeah. So the way that they function there, then like on the core as well, I feel like goes. I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That more like the way that they're portrayed there. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
All right, interesting. I definitely appreciate how they were all together. I thought that town hall meeting was really fun. I'm gonna go sequel here. One of the few medals I'm gonna give to the sequel. I'm not gonna give many, but this is one of the few. Mainly because what we talked about earlier, it's so packed with Warner Brothers IP that it's almost overwhelming. But I really enjoyed the sequences of them going to the different universes and getting them. So getting Daffy and Porky from the Justice League, getting Lola from Wonder Woman, getting Granny from the Matrix, which was interesting.
She was in the Matrix, yeah.
And Speedy Gonzalez, and I just really enjoyed that sequence, and I felt that the animation was weird in the sequel, when they got on the game and they became like
they changed animation.
They became like photorealistic almost,
Mhm.
which was weird, but I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed that leap of ingenuity that they took with that. So I'm going to give that to the sequel. Not many will go to the sequel though for me.
Okay.
In this pod. So now we're going to go to the game. We're going to talk about which movie did the game better, because at the end of the day, these movies are about the game.
It's about the game.
It is the crux of the film is what happens in the game. So gold medal to the original or the sequel for the game?
I really like the defending team or the enemy team in both of them. I like how they're in the original, they're changing the really good players at the time into these like
the Monstars suck the power out of the real
power, and
players.
You got these like really like unique like alien basketball players. I really enjoy that. And the new one, I really enjoy just like the different aspects of those like opposing players. Like they had Anthony Davis with like the bird guy. They had the water and fire. I don't remember who that was.
Klay Thompson was like wet fire.
Wet fire. That was odd, but I don't know. I enjoyed that as well. Like the spider. Another one as well.
The snake. Diana Taurasi was a snake.
The snake.
I forget who the spider was. I don't remember her name. And
then they had
Kronos, Dame Lillard.
Kronos, Dame Lillard, I enjoyed like the playfulness of that. I like creative characters like that, and so I feel like they added a lot to the game. And it was definitely interesting. Like the game was obviously interesting because the points were just fumbled
out of control.
But I thought it was fun watching that, and like it was insane, a lot going on, and you have all these like Warner Brothers characters
Yeah.
flocking around, but I would say the sequel.
Sequel. All right, we're gonna disagree, and this is probably the one I'm most passionate about. The whole film.
Okay.
I'm giving this to the original for a lot of the reasons you just touched on.
Yeah.
I think it's a basketball game, and the original has a basketball game. This new one, while I like aspects, and we'll get into a little bit in another medal about the son creating the game, and LeBron not realizing that it's his son and not him.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the aspects of the son creating the game. And I think that's interesting. But at the end of the day, it's so confusing because the Toon Squad is down by like 1,000 at halftime.
It's quite a
And then within like 5 minutes, they're up 2. It's very crazy how the points work. Porky Pig is getting like 700 points for this rap.
she deserves.
There isn't a lot of basketball in the basketball game.
Yeah,
And
there's power-ups.
There's power-ups. The spider is like dunking on LeBron's face for like 700 points. And it just, to me, it was very convoluted and very confusing because you didn't know what anything was worth. Like sometimes you hit a 3-pointer, it's worth 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
The next time it's worth 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell what is worth what. In the original, it's still a basketball game. Well, I don't love the stretch at the end. I thought that was odd when he stretches his arm halfway across the court. But so that, and then you mentioned the crowd. I think it really takes away from the game. I really like the thought of Warner Brothers having their entire IP watching. I think that's really interesting, and I enjoyed that part at the beginning when it showed them all.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kept showing characters throughout the game that distracts you because now you're not paying attention to the game, you're paying attention to who's in the crowd.
True.
You're looking for Pennywise, you're looking for the Matrix people.
On both.
You're looking for the flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz.
I
haunting.
didn't like that. Didn't like saying them.
Didn't like that. And there's just so much going on that I think it just takes away so much from the game itself.
True.
And to be honest, this movie is really long compared to the other one. It's like a half hour longer. And I felt it in the game. The game felt like 15 minutes too long. Like you could have shortened that up. The game in the original is not that long. Like screen time. It's only like 20 minutes. It's not very long. So I go for the original. I just think it's more true of a basketball game and it's less convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
But I get why kids and some people would love the sequel because it is fun.
Yeah.
It's like pinball and it's just going everywhere.
Embracing the fun.
You're embracing the fun. All right, we're gonna go medal for soundtrack. Music in the film. Do you think the original was better or do you think the sequel was better?
If I'm being totally honest,
We want honesty here.
the
Yeah.
soundtrack was not in my mind at all. I think like you said, with the new one, like it being so action packed, there's like so much going on that like my brain is not even have time to think about the soundtrack.
I think that's fair, and I'm actually gonna interrupt you right there.
Yeah.
I agree that you don't even really notice the soundtrack in the second one.
Yeah.
Actually, there was one song, I forget what it was, but there was one song that I was like, oh, this is a fun song. I think it's hands down the original.
Yeah.
That was like a hip hop megastorm, the original.
Mhm.
All the song, and especially Welcome to the Space Jam.
Yeah.
Was not in this new film.
Yeah, and that was a notable song.
That was an iconic song.
Yeah.
That was made for the film that was not in this one, and I really felt that.
Yeah.
I was waiting the whole time. I was like, when are they going to play it?
Yeah.
When are they going to drop that needle? And they never did.
Mhm.
And that alone would make me give it to the original because I love that song so much.
Yeah.
I used to listen to that before we had track meets. I would literally listen to that song. It hyped me up. I Believe I Can Fly was a huge one from the first one.
Sure.
It opens the film. The second one, to me, just didn't really have anything that was notable.
No.
There was no new songs that struck a chord with anybody, and not having Welcome to the Space Jam, to me, is a crime against movies, against Looney Tunes, against Michael, against basketball, against films.
Against it all. Yeah. No, I would agree with you. I would give it to the original for that one.
Yeah. All right, good. I think that's the first one we agreed on
Is it really?
of the medals.
Yeah.
I think so.
it is. Yeah.
All right, this one. We're gonna go medal for supporting human. So either original or sequel, either one. The other human characters besides Michael and LeBron we're going to give a gold medal. So here are some examples.
Yep.
So some notable ones that Larry Bird from the original.
Okay.
You get the golf scene. You get him in the gym
Yep.
at the end. Bill Murray
Mm,
at the golf scene in the game. He was a big part of the first one.
yeah, he was.
You have Wayne Knight, who was his assistant in
Yep.
the first one. You know, who leans over the dugout and then falls in the dugout.
Yeah, that's
You have other ones from the first one. You got the players like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, the guys that the Monstars steal the power from.
mhm.
You've also got players in the second one, which we talked about: Dame Lillard, Davis, Taurasi, Klay Thompson, Don Cheadle, who plays Al G. Rhythm in the second one. He was not a human in the movie, but he presents himself as a human on the screen.
Yeah. We'll count him.
The family members, both from Michael and LeBron. So we got LeBron's kid, who was obviously kind of the driving force of the plot in the
Big
second
part,
one.
yeah.
First one, the family members weren't really anything.
Yeah, it made me a little bit at the beginning, but
And then we have Malik, was the last one I wrote down. The guy who loses LeBron and his kid in the Warner Brothers studio, and the wife is not happy.
Malik, yeah.
Who's crying at the end when they come back because he's so happy and emotional. So who do you give the gold medal for best supporting human out of these two films?
I would say whoever played Al G. Rhythm.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his acting, he had really good acting ability.
Yes. He's a world-class actor.
Yeah.
For sure.
Obviously brought a lot to the movie. I thought he was a really good villain, and the way that like he kind of portrayed that is he kind of like tried to lure the kid and act like he's like a nice guy.
Yeah.
But then like his true pieces of his character came out.
Yeah.
As the film went on. I thought he was really notable for that, and like you could like every moment he was on screen, he was always like doing a really good job, or he was really energetic and just like in his acting ability. So
yeah,
I enjoyed him a lot. I had to give him the gold medal.
I agree with you that he was great. I'll probably give him my silver medal if we did three.
Okay.
I thought he was great actor, and definitely a great actor when he's in scenes with LeBron. It's very noticeable how good of an actor he is. I give Bill Murray my gold medal.
Okay.
I love Bill Murray. We got Ghostbusters, Caddyshack. We got all these great films that Bill Murray is in.
He's a good actor.
I love him. I think he's so funny when he's trying to make it to the NBA and telling Michael like they need talent now more than ever. They're looking for someone to step up, and he thinks that he's the guy when he's like 50 years old, and let's be honest, a white guy, with probably bad knees, and we see it in the game. We see it in the game. He's not moving around great, although he does show off some handles and some passing, but probably wouldn't make it in the league. I just think the golf scene, the basketball game, I think he's just really funny, and he's really great, and he doesn't take away from anything, which I think is great. And I love it when Wayne Knight is like he takes a picture of Michael when he's getting his hole-in-one ball, and then Michael gets sucked down the hole, and then Murray has that really great exchange with him. He's like, "What kind of camera is that?" And then and Wayne Knight like takes a look at it. And he's like, "Don't point that thing at me," and like throws it away. I thought that was really funny. Probably the biggest laugh out loud moment I had in either film. So I give Murray my gold. I would give Cheadle silver, and then Wayne Knight I'd probably give a bronze by work because he's just hilarious.
He adds
Newman from Seinfeld.
Adds some spice.
He does. He adds some great stuff. All right, we got 2 medals left. We're gonna go medal for plot. So plot, original or sequel. So in the original, the plot is the Monstars. They're from Moron Mountain.
Yeah.
And their boss, I forget his
From
name.
the moon.
Yeah. He's tasked them with getting these stars to play or for Michael to play basketball as a star attraction, as like a slave, basically. And then they're gonna take the Looney Tunes with them too to be an attraction. So basically, the Monstars are just trying to please their boss and take prisoners. That's the plot, and the Looney Tunes are trying to obviously save themselves.
Yeah.
The sequel is LeBron James is pushing his younger son to play basketball. His younger son doesn't really want to play basketball. He wants to design video games, and LeBron struggles to realize that it's not his life, it's his son's. And so the plot is Al G. Rhythm takes his son and tries to pit him against LeBron and make him realize his dad isn't supportive, which is true. Al G. Rhythm is not lying in that. His motivations are shady, but he isn't lying in that. So what do you think is a better plot? You think the first one, and the second one is a better plot?
I would say the sequel.
Okay.
I think that I mean, it's got a good lesson. It's got a good lesson.
It does have a good lesson. Yeah.
It's allowing your not being a helicopter parent, allowing your kid to be free, even if you're the best player like in the world at the moment,
Yeah.
like, he has one son who's aspiring, but he doesn't need to make his other son if he has other aspirations. And the way that develops, I enjoy that plot, even if it's a little cheesy, more than the aliens trying to like make bank off of these people, like for their moon base or whatever that is. But so I would give the sequel the gold.
I agree with you. This is one of the 2 medals I believe that I give to the sequel. The reasons that I gave MJ the medal for acting and leading the film, I think are the exact reasons why I give the sequel the medal for plot. Because Michael is just about selling shoes in this film. That's really all he cares about, the purpose of it. So the plot is very thin, and it's just, you don't care about the monster. Like when the reveal came at the end that they were just scared of their boss, and when they get liberated and joined in with the Looney Tunes, which by the way, they make an appearance in this film.
I do.
And that was in the new one, and that was a big yes cheer moment for me. I was like, that is cool that they came back. I'm glad they did. But I just felt it was very thin, and I didn't really care that they were freed or whatever. I didn't care that they got away from their boss. But this film, I think, is more emotional. And with LeBron trying to up Michael, I think he realized, I need to have a better story. It needs to hit home more. And I think this one definitely does. You make a great point about helicopter parents and great lessons to take away from the film. And I wonder if LeBron is actually dealing with some of that in his own life. I wonder if maybe because I know Bronny, his oldest son, is a pretty good basketball player, probably going pro. But I wonder if Bryce, the younger son, I wonder if this is like a therapeutic experience for them, for him to kind of work through that. I wonder if Bryce is maybe questioning whether he wants to play basketball. I don't know that obviously, but that was a thought I had while watching the movie.
Yep.
But I definitely think the plot in the second one is better. And so now we have the final medal for film. Which is the better film? Do you prefer gold medal for the original or gold medal for the sequel?
I would say sequel for me.
Sequel for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Gold for me. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm like a colorful person,
Sure.
I like just weird, or just like a lot of action, a lot of things going on, and that is what the second movie provides. So there's a lot going on, which can be overwhelming, but I enjoyed the creativeness of that, like with like I was saying earlier, with like the enemy team, and just how the film went about, and like how they retrieved different characters from different places. And the original film, it's also I really like the playfulness of it as well. But I would have to give it to the sequel.
Fair enough. It definitely is a lot. I would compare the second one to like fireworks on the 4th of July. You're seeing a lot of colors, you're seeing a lot of noises.
Yeah.
And it's visually arresting. Like it's stunning visually.
Gives you literal cardiac arrest.
Literal, yeah. And I want to be clear that I it sounds like I bash the sequel a lot, and I have, but I do like the sequel. Like I enjoy that this film exists. I enjoy that LeBron had this opportunity. I would give the medal to the original. I think it just is while the plot is better in the sequel, I think it's just a more tight movie in the first one. A thin plot, but it's not too long. It's like 90 minutes, and it just goes. This one is like 120 minutes, and it doesn't just go to me. There are some times where it just kind of stops and gets stuck. And I think while there are great parts of the sequel, I would originally, with the soundtrack, with Bill Murray, with Michael being a little better than LeBron in my opinion, I think, and the game itself being a lot better in my opinion, I would give the medal to the original. But I think we both like both movies.
Yeah.
I think we both enjoy them. So now, just to wrap up our final thoughts, what do you think of the franchise as a whole? And do you think they should do more? And if they were to do a sport other than basketball, what sport do you think? What would you like to see?
Yeah, I definitely like the franchise. I like the idea of it. I like combining like really good basketball or really good athletics with just like some Looney Tune craziness. I enjoy just the idea, like how they have like realistic humans with like, just animations and stuff like that.
And you can tell in this movie how far visual effects have come.
Oh yeah.
In the 25 years,
they've improved quite a bit.
It's drastic.
Yeah. Where would we go from here? Like, I think you would need another, because obviously they focus on highlight players. Like, I mean, these players are world renowned.
These are widely accepted the 2 greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
So
like maybe the greatest athletes, like just so, you'd really need like a star, like a standout.
Here's a thought: Zion Williamson, maybe in 10 years, maybe Zion.
If we see how he progresses, and if his career looks good. So, and like in terms of another sport, like other huge sports, I mean, like if Usain Bolt was in his prime or something like that,
that'd be fun with like an Olympics type.
Yeah, and he
promoting the Olympic circuit.
Olympics, yeah. Like he was always like a big character, and so he was really like everyone, knew about him. So I think, and maybe now, I don't know. I feel like it would have been better if they did it when he was in his like prime time, in the Olympics and things like that. But
I think he'd be fun. I mean, he's a character. I mean,
he's fun.
He likes to pose. He likes to have fun. So I think he would interact well with the Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
that's a weird sentence. All right, so track and field, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I also love the franchise. I would be surprised, I think, if they do more.
Yeah.
I don't think this one's going to get the box office, which we talked about at the top, to really let the studio feel comfortable moving forward.
Yeah.
But maybe the numbers on HBO Max will be good, and maybe they'll, for another sport, I thought of WWE. I know we both liked WWE when we were younger. As we got older, we kind of grew out of it. But it was fun when you're a kid to watch WWE, when you think it's real and you do that. I think it'd be fun to see like a Royal Rumble with the Looney Tunes and with a famous wrestler. I don't know, John Cena. He's a big actor.
Yeah.
He could do it probably. If he was with the Looney Tunes and he had to fight the Goon Squad or whatever in a wrestling match.
I like it.
I think that could work.
Yeah.
I like the Olympics thing too, though. So those are our thoughts on Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy. Solid films that we both really enjoyed. I think we touched on the things we didn't like, but we touched on plenty that we did like. So thank you for listening, and we will be back with our next podcast where we're going to review Escape Room, A Tournament of Champions, and Old by M. Night Shyamalan. We're going to do a 2-for-1 podcast.
Boom.
So tune in for that. Make sure to check out thecircuitverse.com. You can find a bunch of content on sports, pop culture, and you can see our podcasts and our videos on YouTube. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next pod.
See you later.